Hi, class. Good afternoon. So today we're continuing on with absolute value. This is day 2 and the final day. So today we're going to actually compare absolute values. So on the last lesson, we actually looked at the definition of absolute value. And the definition of absolute value is what? It's the distance of a number from zero, right? The distance of it. We also looked at the symbol for absolute value. The symbol is the two bars, right? The two bars in the middle of a number. All right. So today, here's your question that you're going to answer. How do I compare absolute values? How do I do it? So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's go ahead and do this first example. It's right here on this slide, but it's on this side, right? We're comparing two numbers, two absolute values, and let's see how we can do it, and also using a number line. Okay. All right, so here's our example. So our example is just like the one that's right here on this side, okay? So you're copying this on your paper. Okay, you're making this again, and this is your notes. Remember, you're using your notebook or you're using just a scratch sheet of paper, okay? But make sure you keep these, okay? Be organized because when we take a quiz, you're gonna need this. All right, so example, compare the absolute value of -2 and the absolute value of 5. Compare them. Use less than, greater than, or equal to. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, so this is step 1. Step 1. What we're going to do is actually take the absolute value of each. So what's the absolute value of -2? What is the distance of -2 from 0? The distance, which is the absolute value of -2, that's 2, right? And then the absolute value of 5 equals 5. So the absolute value of -2 equals 2, and the absolute value of 5 is 5, right? Okay, so that's what we have so far. So step 2, let's rewrite it. Step 2, we have 2, and then we have 5. So now this is here, and this one is here. So 2, is it less than, greater than, or equal to 5? Smaller, right? Okay, so we solved it like that, and now we got to put it back to absolute value form. Step 3. So back to absolute value form. So the absolute value of 2 is less than the absolute value of 5. Okay, now on the slide, you also see a number line. So let's draw the number line and see if it makes sense. If the distance of -2 is smaller than the distance of 5, remember, that's the same as the absolute value of -2 is less than the absolute value of 5. Let's see. Let's draw our number line. All right, so here's our number line. All right, let me zoom in. So let's see the distance of -2 from 0. The distance is 1, 2. Okay, and then the distance to 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this distance is smaller than this distance, right? So this is true. And we are done. So go ahead and copy this. Make sure you guys copy all of this on your paper, okay? It's either this, your notebook, or your sheet of paper. All right, and go ahead and post it on the next slide. Post this on the next slide. All right, guys. Now let's go ahead and do some example problems. You see 3 on the bottom right here, right? 1, 2, and 3. So go ahead and you do them. What you got to do with those arrows and the equal sign. So move them over to the middle to see which one makes sense. Is it less than, greater than, or equal to? Move them over. Just take your cursor and slide them over. Okay. If you don't want to do that, if you actually want to do the work, then go ahead and stay in this video, and we're gonna do all 3 right here. Okay. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and do the first one. It's right here on the slide below. So compare the absolute value of -4 and the absolute value of -5. Compare them. Okay. you have to use less than, greater than, or equal to. So let's see. Step 1, we got to actually turn them into regular numbers. So the absolute value of -4 is 4. The absolute value of -5 is 5. Step 2, okay, let's rewrite them. 4 and 5. So is 4 greater than, less than, or equal to 5? It is less than. So now step 3, now we got to rewrite them back to what they were before. So the absolute value of 4, -4, is less than the absolute value of -5. Okay? Now let's graph it real quickly and see if that is true. Okay, so here's our number line. Let me zoom in. Here's our number line. Here's 0, here's -4, and here's -5. Yes? So now let's see how far from 0 is -4. So -4 is, I'm going to do them different colors so you guys can see it. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I did them on the wrong one. Sorry, guys. It's this one. Here's -4. And here's -5. Okay? So now let's go ahead and see. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And this bottom one's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like the absolute value of -4, the distance is smaller than this distance. So that is why the absolute value of -4 is smaller, less than the absolute value of -5. So we showed it with the number line. Now let's go ahead and do number 2 and number 3. All right, so here's number 2. So it's also down here on the slide, okay? So the absolute value, compare the absolute value of 3 and -3. So the absolute value of 3 is 3. And the absolute value of -3 is 3. They're both the same. So 3 equals 3. So the absolute value of 3 is equal to the absolute value of -3. That one was easy. We don't need to draw a number line for that one. We're good. Okay, let's go on to number 3. All right, so this is getting easy now, right? All you're taking is the absolute value of the number, the distance of that number from 0. That's it. So look at this one, which is also right here on the bottom slide. Compare the absolute value of 19 and the absolute value of -198. Okay, well, step 1. Absolute value of 19 is 19. And the absolute value of -188 is 98. Okay, so now we rewrite it. So 19 blank 98. So 19 is less than 98. So we rewrite it back. The absolute value of 19 is less than the absolute value of -198. And that makes sense because the distance from 0 of -198 is more than the absolute value of 19, right? That's it. We're done with these 3 examples here, okay? So if you did copy all of this from me, if you copied all of this, then go ahead and post it on the next slide. Some of you might have just copied up to just right here. Okay, just this. You probably didn't copy 1, 2, and 3, which is fine. It's okay.